We have placed the order for our initial 1 engine and 1 ladder, as well as we have 5 pickup trucks that have been ordered, and they will be we'll be putting those in service here shortly. They will be rapid response units. They will be on the road to keep the fire trucks off the road and get some smaller units responding that are appropriately outfitted and equipped to manage those EMS calls. We have also received a financial commitment from the administration to move forward with those pieces of equipment that we had that were added to our fleet order, and we are aggressively searching now with the shortage of equipment to locate equipment that we can purchase quickly and that we can put into service. And so we are moving in that direction as well. Next, you will see the completion of our order at Aviation Division, which is at the airport, where they continue to provide the support in replacing our ARF vehicles, our aircraft rescue firefighting vehicles. We have 3 that have been ordered, and they are on their way. We should get those by the 1st of fall. We are replacing the mini pumper, and they are replacing 2 ambulances have chassis replacement that is scheduled to do. But we will continue to maintain the rented ambulances that we had so that we can maintain our fleet at the airport with 5 ambulances prepared to transport those patients. As well as you will find that the Ford Escape on this order, that one was canceled and it will be pushed to the next fiscal year. Next, you will see facilities that we have renovations, major renovations, as well as the majority of them are new construction. You will see Station 8, where we did some structural upgrades and repairs, made some ADA changes. That construction is scheduled to be completed by the end of this month. Station 14, they are beginning the partial reconfiguration of the station and doing some much needed renovations to that station. Based on the legislation, we're looking to start that as quickly as possible. Station 22, I know that's been a sore spot that we've talked about for a while. We're happy to say that DEAM has identified a vendor that will be taking that project on, and I've been giving a tentative completion date of December of next year for that project. And we have stations 36 in the Princeton Lakes area, as well as the new EMS station that will be at the corner of Campbellton and County Line, that are scheduled to be completed by the end of this year. As a matter of fact, we have been told that they will be inhabitable by November, and we're happy to announce that we are opening, in partnership with the airport, a clinic at Hartsfield-Jackson to relieve some of the stress of the EMS calls that are coming in at the airport. And that we will be having a ribbon cutting for that that clinic in June of this year. Next, we talk about the ongoing initiatives in correlation with the mayor's initiative for safe streets. We recently partnered with the Atlanta Hawks, in which they provided a basketball court and some equipment for us to entice the kids in the community to come and hang out at the fire stations, hopefully develop some partnerships and some mentorships to get those kids off of the street and get some assistance with homework, as well as we have expanded our recruiting efforts, working directly with the Atlanta Public Schools as well as the Atlanta Metro colleges, and we are very excited about the possibilities of bringing on fire cadet program recruits as new employees for Atlanta Fire Rescue, as well as recruiting at some of the local colleges and universities and bringing them on as well. We will continue to support aggressively the code enforcement interim process, ensuring that we can address at the community level those calls prior to them becoming emergency medical calls or emergency fire calls, and we continue to put our efforts forward to make sure that we are prepared for the accreditation process that we are scheduled to be reviewed for in 2024. And I am prepared to answer any questions that you may have for me at this time.
Thank you, Chief. I'll start with my questions. I asked that my computer get logged back in so I can see the list. I have a handful, as I think of recent. I've probably got more, I guess I'd say, alarm bells as far as the concerns around staffing that I have, and probably my previous 4 years on council. And, the presentation speaks for itself. We're almost at a 25% vacancy when it comes to what y'all call the downtown space. 48 resignations. That's not counting, the terminations or the resignation, or excuse me, the retirements, but 48 resignations. And it was brought to my attention after the fact, and some of my colleagues only recently realized this. Some may still not realize it, I don't know, but when the council adopted the firefighter pay increases, we didn't even adopt the study's minimum recommendations. So what conversations have you had around that, and making sure that when we get presented a budget by the administration, that we see that AFRD is going to get at the very least, just like we gave APD, the minimum study recommendations for our firefighters?
Okay. Thank you for the question. That's a great question. The pay compensation conversations continue, and they are ongoing. The administration has committed to that third round of 3 that was tied to the Mercer study that was agreed upon by the previous fire chief, Chief Slaughter, as well as the labor organization. So they have committed to that. In addition to that, they have expressed their willingness to go back to the table and revisit the Mercer study based on the fact that the numbers that are in the original study have changed, because the majority of the departments that were utilized in that study have received pay raises. So I'm anticipating and very optimistic that we will end up in a better space very shortly.
Good to hear, and certainly an advocate for giving you all what you need so we can address those compensation issues, which is leading to the attrition. On the EMS service, I'm glad to hear of the improvement. When you mentioned the extended wait times, what is the definition in AFRD language of that?
So for us, an extended wait time is anything that is over 50 minutes on the scene of a call. And
I did have the pleasure of visiting Grady as with some of your chiefs and touring their operations and their 911 center, and they've been hit hard just like everyone else has with staffing challenges, and and I do understand they have some new leadership, which is I guess I'll say more favorable to work with, and has committed to changes to improve their service and their response times. So looking forward to that. And specific to that, where are we in evaluating? I know you mentioned, re-upping, getting the quick units back out, but where are we with looking at having those backup transports available here in the city?
Right. So we have, obviously, we are at the mercy of the vendors and them being able to provide the equipment. We have ordered the 5 pickup trucks. It's my understanding that they have arrived and that we now have to get them outfitted with the emergency lighting and things of that nature. So based on how quickly we can get that in place. But of course, like everything else, the key is going to be staffing. And so as quickly as we can get that staffing in place, the goal is to get those trucks in place as quick as possible because we don't want the fire trucks running up and down the road as frequently as they were, because they can, the cost can be mitigated by the smaller units.
But then in addition to those trucks, are we also looking at doing transport in the city, dispatching them initially, and then if we are getting close to or exceeding that extended wait time, going ahead and doing transport ourselves. Where are we at in evaluating that?
Yes, so where we have identified some gaps in the city. One of them is the result of the EMS station that is down on the south end right there near the annexed areas where we were having some issues with service coverage. The first 2 ambulances that we are looking to transport will go in service in that EMS station, and the quick units will be moved around the city as needed to offset the calls, and we are looking down the road to get more transport units. Our goal is to basically shore up some of the gaps that we have in the city. We are not looking to replace the services that Grady has, but we feel like we can enhance the services overall that are provided to the city by providing or stepping into those gaps.
Moving on to the fleet issues. Appreciate you going over the confirmed purchases there of looks like 5 pickup trucks, the TDA, and the pumper. But then when can we expect some additional confirmed details and confirmed purchases on the additional apparatuses? Because as you know, I did try to do a paper last year, an ordinance that would actually dedicate true funding to additional units. The previous administration was not supportive of that, so it instead became a resolution just saying that we're going to purchase X, Y, and Z, didn't actually dedicate funding to them. So where are we with nailing down and actually dedicating funding to that additional equipment, and what will it be?
So I met with the CFO, and this administration has agreed to go into that space and make sure that we have the funding. I have not identified the funding source, but we are working with Public Works right now to place those orders to get those trucks in. But like everything else, it's a matter of who has the equipment and what factories are tooled up to provide what we need, knowing that our optimal decision is to get something that is already built, that we can get off the showroom floor or off of the lot into service as quickly as possible. But our last resort will be to order equipment, which will take us roughly 12 to 14 months on a good timeline to get it in service. So our goal optimally is to get something as quickly as possible in service.
And how many units, TDAs versus engines on those yet to be
So there were a total of 3 and 3 that was added to the FY22, and that will be a total of 3 and 2 that will be a part of FY23.
3
engines, I'm sorry, and 2 ladders. When I say 3 and 3, the first number is the engine.
Related to that, where are we right now as far as current engines and TDAs or other ladder trucks that are down?
So I don't have that number with me right now, but I can provide that number to you. That number changes daily. It changes by the hour. But Fleet has been very egregious in working with us in that they brought a vendor in that has started going through all of the equipment. They started with the engines, and so the last report I saw, we had 6 reserve engines in service, and we had 3 reserve ladders in service.
Related to that, just a specific question about the District 9 facility. I know you listed Station 8 on here as undergoing renovations. It's supposed to be done, looks like, within the next week.
Yes.
That engine, to my knowledge, was previously sent to 28 to run 2 engines of a response out of there.
Correct.
But I believe Engine 8 has been down for quite a while. Is that true? And what is the issue?
Yes, it was down for repairs. We're anticipating that it will be prepared or ready to go when those doors open. And then if not, we will make sure that one of those reserve engines goes over to provide that service in 8's territory.
And what did you say was the updated completion time on 22?
I was told that it would be completed by the end of calendar year next year, December of 23.
And as far as getting that new contractor, if they're here, they can hear me. I would like to hear those updated details from Deem because I've not been updated on that. But I did pass by today, and it looked like some progress was being made. But if Deem could send me those additional details about who is arrangement to get that station built, I'll get it.
We'll make sure you get that.
And then this last item was the NREM process. We had the code enforcement work session, and I brought up, I know y'all's placarding program, and I'm sure it was communicated with you, but just wanted to pass along that, I would like to see those placards recorded in a cella so they can be seen when people go to look up problem properties. And then also asked if you all could do some proactive work, just for example, like you all do with twice a year with the hydrants, to go and identify, the top 5 to 10 properties per station initial response area that, you all do not want to have to respond to a fire to for fear of, a firefighter falling through a floor or a roof caving in on them. So is that something that you all can commit to and send those over to code enforcement so they can work to get those properties quickly addressed?
Oh, definitely. We'll make that a part of our engines and trucks getting out on a daily basis. We'll make sure we get those out.
All right. Thank you, Chief. My computer is down again, but if I'll go over the screen. Councilmember Bond.
Thank you, Chief. The chair touched on some of the issues that I was going to raise, specifically about the pay. I was going to ask you about the Mercer study. That was done several years ago. In the negotiations with the administration, just as Chief Bryant mentioned that, well, I guess what I'm trying to ask is that those findings are several years old. So it's probably time again to reevaluate what the salaries ought to be. Because I agree with Chief Bryant just about APD, the same should be true for FARD, that they're the highest paid fire department at least in the state of Georgia.
Definitely.
So has there been any conversations about revising those numbers, or you're just still at the level of trying to get us caught up on what we had previously approved?
So there are two dynamics to it. One is the agreement that we got from the administration to move forward with that third round, and the next step was us being able to revisit the Mercer study. I am aware, like you are, that the study was completed in 2019. And so many of those departments have gotten pay raises since then. And while we realize that you will never be paid what you're worth, ideally, but the goal is to make sure that we are getting competitive salaries for our employees.
I look forward to hearing about that. And then the second part, I was going to ask about the ambulatory services, but you say you're only really looking to do certain sections of the city where the coverage is gapped?
So it's going to be phased in.
Phased in?
And so it will start with a dedicated EMS station that is on the south side. There is a gap there that we omitted when we did the annexation. And so we bridged that gap with an agreement with the city of South Fulton. And so our goal now is to go into that gap and address that EMS coverage, and we're doing it with the ambulance services on that south side.
I know a lot of fire departments around the country have their own ambulance service. That's not something that we should pursue, or?
Oh, definitely. It's something that we will do over time.
So we should be working in the direction of developing our own ambulatory services, despite what Grady may have.
To some degree, yes.
Some degree, okay. Well, how are we progressing on that, and what is the effort towards developing that? Is this thing with South Fulton a first step towards that, or?
Yes, it is. It is. And the administration is very receptive to assisting us in meeting the needs of the city.
I guess thirdly, I know we're about to do another bond referendum. Are there any projects that you have that are included in that municipal bond for build out for any of your facilities?
Are you talking about the T-SPLOS?
Yeah.
Yes. So we have a commitment of 4 fire stations that will be rebuilt in that.
All right. Well, I withdraw, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Councilmember Overstreet.
Thank you, Chief. I'll be brief. I really, again, wanted to thank you for coming in today with your presentation. I just want to echo what you hear here today. It's important that we are competitive salary-wise and apparatuses, everything. Like, we should be at the top because we are the largest. And I just feel like our budget should definitely reflect our commitment. And so I'm prepared to meet wherever we need to, wherever the bar is, as far as what it takes to retain our great firefighters and make it a place where they want to do the work here in Atlanta. So just know that you do have support on council in that aspect. I think that they need to be compensated. So that's where we are with that. Also want to get just a little clarity about stations 36 and 37 on your presentation, slide 14. The Princeton Lakes Fire Station, is that the Fabrin site?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And it says project is set to be completed in August 2022. You mean the site prep phase. Is that correct?
No. What I am told is that the station will be completed
Whoa,
by
really?
November.
Okay. So this should say November 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
We're trying to open them by the end of the year.
I see, because I've been passing by and I see movement, but I didn't know, to what degree. But okay, all right. So, all right, that's it. That's all I wanted, just to make sure you knew you had support on council with compensating our officers.
Thank you.
Councilmember Boone.
Thank you, Chief. It's so good to see everybody. We're excited to see you all close up. But Chief, thank you all for showing up in the community. The smoke detectors, the batteries, the first responders that know how to administer the insulin. We're called a lot because we have a lot of elderly in our community. So those that give CPR and really, really save lives, please thank them and let them know how much we appreciate them and you all being visible, just as visible as can be, making sure that our seniors have these smoke detectors replaced. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Amos.
Be very quickly, since we got both chiefs in the room. I know APD Citizens Fire Academy is about to start, and hopefully fire will be so too. Can you share that information and the curriculum with us and and the rest of my colleagues? Because I'm proud to say I am an alumni of both Citizens Academy, and the knowledge and the friendships that I built and learned years ago, I still use now. So unless you have actually went into the police stations or went into the fire stations to actually see what we're asking our men and women to live and to work out of, it is very different. So if you could share the information at a later date of the academies with us and the curriculum, because it may be a day we want to stop in. If you guys still have a range day, I definitely want to come. But I used to do the ride along with 16, and I was the medic guy. We jumped off the truck. My job was to grab the medic bag. I probably shouldn't have said that since we got insurance, but
You didn't touch any patients, right?
It was fun, and it was a lot of knowledge gained about what our firefighter and women and police men and women actually do on day to day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Waits.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just simply want to echo Councilmember Overstreet's thoughts in terms of the conversation surrounding fire service pay raises. Do you have the data that reflects what the other counties and cities are actually being paid?
We do have some data.
Okay.
I'll be happy to share that with you.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, I'm not sure what protocol is, but what is the challenge? Does the legislation come from this end or from the administration? So when do we move that forward?
Regarding,
Fire service pay increase.
so I would hope, it is my hope that we will see it in the FY23 budget, in addition to their already scheduled percentage increase that was part of the initial plan.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a new member. I just want to thank you.
and just to be clear again, my first priority is getting you all first, at least what the study, the minimum recommendations of the study, which, again, to our knowledge, as of late, were not even was adopted. And then you all and APD, I believe it's time for you both to be reevaluated. As you said, there's been lots of changes in compensation because when we do something, everyone else does something. So it's time to look at both fire and police again when it comes to compensation, in my opinion. So that's something I'll be pushing for as well. So any other questions from my colleagues? Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
We will now, that completes our presentations. We will now move on to communications. We do have the one communication item that needs to be held. You'll say on that.
Item number 1, 22C5051, a communication from Council President Doug Shipman appointing Ms. Jasmine Moore to serve as a member of the Public Safety Commission.
Motion to hold, as that person is not with us today. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Overstreet.
Mr. Chair, may I have a discussion before we move? One of the challenges that we've had with respect to the Public Safety Commission is actually the need for the council to appoint. And out of respect for this body, we put that in the legislation. But I can tell you, we've had tremendous challenges in terms of getting responses back from outside members and entities. And so my question to you, is it necessary that the member be present given that the nomination has occurred?
Yes, we always need to hear from them and hear about their background and their willingness to serve, and that person has stated that they will be here at our May 9th meeting.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Did you? All right. So prepared?
The vote is open. Okay. The vote is closed.
We have 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is held in committee. Moving on to the consent agenda for claims with favorable and unfavorable recommendations. I will make a motion to accept all favorable claims, 1 through 9. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
Adverse, 6 yeas, 0 nays. Or excuse me, those are the items for approval. I apologize. Those items are approved, 6 yeas, 0 nays. We'll now move on to unfavorable claims. I'll make a motion to adverse all unfavorable claims 10 through 119. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are adversed. Moving on to ordinances for first reading.
Item number 1, 22-01335, an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to transfer an amount not to exceed $400,000.00 to and from reserves in the General Government Capital Outlay Fund impact fees to specific project center designations in the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department for the purpose of providing funding for the Buckhead Emergency Vehicle Preemption Installation and for modernizing traffic signals and equipment and intersection improvement projects to increase roadway section capacity and for other purposes. And on item number 2, 2201-336, an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee amending the 2022 Intergovernmental Grant Fund budget, Department of Police, by adding to anticipations and appropriations in the amount of $117,000.00 for the Office on Violence Against Women, fiscal year 2021, improving criminal justice responses to domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking grant from United States Department of Justice and for other purposes.
First reads, we'll hear those at our next meeting. Moving on to the regular agenda and ordinances for second reading. Item number 3, please.
Item number 3, 22-0-1277, an ordinance by Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the fiscal year 2022 CARES Act fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations an amount not to exceed $2,677,358.00 awarded to the city pursuant to a grant from the state of Georgia from the Georgia Public Safety Officials and First Responders Supplemental Grant, the total of which shall be utilized to pay to public safety officers and first responders who served the city of Atlanta during the COVID-19 pandemic and for the purposes.
Make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Overstreet. Would you like to speak to this item? Okay.
The purpose of this paper is to make sure that we are taking care of just whom we've spoken of today, our first responders and our men and women of public safety. So I will be favorable, of course.
Thank you, Councilmember Overstreet. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Item 4, under resolutions, please.
A resolution by Council Members Marcy Collier Overstreet and Andrea Boone authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute Amendment Number 1 to Cooperative Purchasing Agreement CPS-1210242, Everbridge Mass Notification and Emergency Alert System with Everbridge Incorporated to add the Atlanta City Council as an authorized user, to add additional funding in an amount not to exceed blank dollars and 0 cents. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
I understand we have an amendment to this item.
Yes.
Go ahead and read that amendment.
A resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute Amendment Number 1 to Cooperative Purchasing Agreement CP-S1210242, Everbridge Mass Notification and Emergency Alert System. Authorized user to add funding in an amount to be determined and budgeted for in the fiscal year 2023 budget. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
I will make a motion to amend. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Overstreet. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. It's a amendment.
Chair, discussion and clarification.
Yes, Councilmember Ramos.
Should this be an ordinance or a resolution?
This does not allocate funding. It just states that the funding amount will be determined and budgeted for in fiscal year 23, so I think it's appropriate for it to be an ordinance. I would refer to the sponsor if she has any additional comments.
That's actually correct. And we're going to hold it for 2 weeks as we go through our budget conversation because, you know, May is budget month. And this should be appropriated during budget, FY23.
I just want to say there's no budget implication to have the city council use Everbridge.
So actually, we're not sure, and that's what we're going to use this time for. So Rhea Aiken is actually going to come in and speak to us about our Everbridge system, and that we'll use these 2 weeks for you and I to discuss what your thoughts about.
Well, I
budget.
just tell you my personal experience of having used Everbridge for 6 years.
Yes.
There's no budget implication for the city council to use it. And as a matter of fact, it was Rhea Aiken that introduced me to Everbridge, so I'm excited that she'll come back to educate everyone on the system. Every city council office, when Rhea showed me the system, had a window into Everbridge during the Reid administration. So there's no extra money for the city council to use that service. I used it for 6 years until there was an objection by the council president, previous council president.
Okay.
We'll hold it. I guess we'll hold it, but
Yeah, we're going to hold it for 2 weeks because I would like for the administration to, talk through their hesitancy if they have any at all. And, I think that in 2 weeks we're going to send it to full council. Yes.
So the vote has been taken to amend it, correct? So 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is amended. Councilmember Overstreet.
And I move to hold.
All right. I'll second that. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Please vote.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is held in committee. Item number 5.
Item number 5, 22R3564, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the reemployment of City of Atlanta retiree Zachary Lewis as a fire equipment service technician within the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department Technical Services Division for annual compensation not to exceed $40,000 and 0 cents. Pursuant to Section 3-505C of the City Charter and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Boone. Prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Councilmember Overstreet, did you have a question? We will take items 6 through 11, which are settlements, as a block. If you could read those items, please.
Item number 6, 22R3565, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the matter of Martha Williams' claim of discrimination in the amount of $7,500 and 0 cents, authorizing said amount to be paid from the account listed, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the total settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 7, 22R3566, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Kevin McEvoy versus City of Atlanta Civil Action File Number 2021 CV 346827, pending in the Magistrate Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $2,400 and 0 cents. The settlement amount to be charged to the account numbers paid wherein the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settled amount and for other purposes. Item number 8, 22R3567, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Sandy Irving versus City of Atlanta, City Action File Number 20EV007448, pending in the State Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $130,000 $35,000.00. Authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the account numbers listed herein. Authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 9, 22R3568, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant in the case of Leandro Fiore versus City of Atlanta, civil action number 18EV006095, pending in the State Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $70,500.00. Authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein. Authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 10, 22R3569, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant in the case of William Donaldson versus City of Atlanta and investigator Brian Peake in his individual capacity, civil action file number 21EV001699, pending in the State Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $27,000.00. Authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein. Authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 11, 22R3570, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant in the case of Christian Lamar Daniel versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number 21EV001152, pending in the State Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $11,500.00. Authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein. Authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve those items. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are approved. Now moving on to our walk-in. If you can read that in, please.
ELMS ID number 29397, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to exercise renewal number 1 under this agreement pursuant to Procurement Code Section 2-119.1 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances on behalf of the Municipal Court of Atlanta for special procurement number SP-S-1200576, Probation Services with Judicial Correction Services, LLC, for a term of 1 year effective May 12, 2022 through May 11, 2023. All funds generated under this agreement shall be deposited into the applicable general fund revenue accounts and agent fund liability accounts and for other purposes.
Thank you. Is anyone here from courts to speak to this walk-in item? Good afternoon.
My name is Brandy Reeves. I'm the Chief Deputy Court Administrator from the Municipal Court, and we have been trying to process this legislation. We apologize that it did not get through. We did place it in ELMS. It does have an ELMS number. This probation contract will expire on May 2nd. If we're not able to get it walked in today and approved, then we will be out of compliance, and so we are asking for some grace from the PSLA committee so that we can get this passed.
Thank you. Can you speak to the specific issues or challenges in getting it through the normal process? Is it
Yes, so initially we started this process. I personally started this process at the beginning of March. There was an issue with the transmittal form with DOP. They asked us to resubmit it, which we did. Once we resubmitted it, there were issues in getting all of the signatures through DocuSign. As of last week, we got it back to the mayor's office, and as of this morning, we were expecting it to be on you all's agenda when we realized it was not. I went back into the ELM system and was able to see that it stalled at research and policy. And so I'm not sure what took place, but once that became known to myself, we tried to make it a point to get here so that we could get this process cleared up as quickly as possible.
Thank you for that, and thanks for being here to explain this to us. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is approved, and I believe that completes our legislative agenda for the first time in over 2 years right here in Committee Room 1. So glad to be back with you all here in this room. I will make a motion to adjourn. Second by Norwood. Unanimous consent. Will be adjourned.
Say hit your gavel.